everybody. Good morning. This is Jean here. I'm feeling so much better. Thank you so much. I had a really nasty illness, as you know, a couple weeks ago, and I am on the mend, and I am feeling much better. All of your kind comments. It was very, very nice to know I had concern about my health, but I'm on the mend, and today is our block party. Block number 13. I said last week, I was watching my video from last week, block number 12. I can't believe we've been doing this for this long. It really is going along very quickly. And the people's blocks that are being sent in, you really must be very, very proud of yourselves. They are just beautiful. And as you now can see a quilt being made. And again, I'm gearing this to beginners. You must be thrilled. You must be thrilled because I had laid all of my blocks out. I've been quilting for a long time now, and I just thought, oh wow, isn't that beautiful? So very pretty, this sampler quilt. So block number 13, very easy. It's not like block number 11 where I beat you up, and block number 12 was easy. Half square triangles, however, I'm teaching you another method to make. Remember I was saying to make 4 at a time. There are so many methods to make half square triangles. You've perfected, hopefully, the marking and or folding, ironing, and then stitching on either side just to make two. And then cutting to make 2 half square triangles. This week, we're going to be making 4 half square triangles in one shot. There are methods to make 8. And I think there's a paper or something, I don't know, something out there to make 16. But this block is a 9 patch with half square triangles. But I've shown you how to do it. Another method, you might think, oh my word, if you have a pattern that has half square triangles, this is a way to make them quicker than marking or pressing. And, excuse me, this is our block. It has 3... Oh, look, I just realized the black and white matches my top. I didn't do that on purpose. Can you see the block? That's funny. It's a real pretty 9 patch in this, like a, I don't know what design it is. Oh, I was looking also, somebody had, not corrected me, but had, made a comment on one of my blocks that I think it was block number 5 was called a Jacob's Ladder, and then number 6 or number 7, I don't know which one, was called a churn dash block, and then also an Ohio star, one of our star blocks. And I'm thinking, oh, of course it is. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. Like, these things have been done forever. And I just, as I was saying, oh, my hair, I just pull from excuse me, I just pull from magazines or oh, my hair's all over the place. I just stick it up. I just pull from magazines or books that have already been made. Of course, like, I'm not a quilting originator. So this block, I think I saw, not the pattern that I was using, but I think somebody said this is called, oh, on Pinterest, this is called perpetual motion. And it sort of is. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. So these are our standard blocks. Hopefully with your design choices you've made them exciting. And this one I love. Again, half square triangles, but I thought the design was pretty. And again, this week is a little bit, you can make it a little bit busier. Or not. You could just make, this is pale green. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a mint green. I don't think it shows up that much on camera. It's a real pretty mint green. You could switch the colors. You could make your star slightly bolder in your background. Just 3 fabrics. I chose not to use my white background. I chose to use a small, tiny little white and black and mint green print for this block. So that's our block number 13. Oh, and I was talking to Jen about finishing our quilt. Not that we're there yet. I believe what I'm going to be doing is, I was talking about borders and about funky sashings. I think I'm going to keep it dead traditional. And if you actually look up sampler quilts on Pinterest, or in magazines or in books, you'll see that sampler quilts were made with just sashing and cornerstones, meaning in between our 4 blocks across, our 5 rows down, our 20 blocks in total, that there's just about a 2-inch piece of fabric. And then on each intersection, you have what's called a cornerstone, a little square. And then that's it. So most of the sampler quilts don't have borders. Now, I'm not one to follow like rules, toss the rule book out, but I think the quilt for beginners to actually quilt in your home sewing machine will be slightly too big. Jen was a bit worried, like, how am I going to get that big quilt in my little sewing machine? And I thought, yeah, so we're going to forgo the borders. So this quilt is going to be the 4 blocks across, which will be, I figured it out, 48 inches or so. And then the sashing, so it's going to end up like 58 or between 56 and 60 inches. I'm not quite sure. We seam allowances across, and then like 70 down or 70 down or something like that. 66 or 70 down, something like that. So it's not all that big. I will show you when we come to it if you want to put a border on it, by all means, and I'll show you how we would have done that. But for now, I think I want to keep it small. And I was wondering myself, like, how in the world are we going to quilt this? Because I do free motion quilting a lot, and you guys don't. So I have to figure out, I think we're going to probably just do the sashings and then just quilt each block maybe individually for you. But again, I'll come to that, but just get it in your head that this quilt is going to be dead traditional. It's going to look like your grandmother's sampler quilt with just the sashing and a small little sashing, a little tiny border on the outside to frame it. But anyway, we're not there yet. This is week 13. Wow, this is like unbelievable. This is our block. Real pretty, it's another 9 patch which we've done, but a method of making our half square triangles, which I think you'll like, I think you'll enjoy. 4 at a time, 3 fabrics. So there's my block, matches my, look, can you see the block? I gotta get lime green. That's so funny. Okay, folks, so there you go, block number 13. I'm having a blast. I hope you are too. Thanks. Bye. I'm going to start block number 13, and I'm going to come over. I have a thought what I'm going to do. The block I want is a very simple, as I was saying, a very simple block. I'm going to take my blocks out. Oh, look at my pretty blocks. I need, for this block, I want to do 3 or 2 plus a background high contrast fabrics. So as you know, this is my box of fat quarters that I have been using. I really haven't thought about this, but I was looking at the pattern and I thought I really do want high contrast. So then I'm looking at my other blocks and I'm thinking, what colors should I start pulling? For again, a heavier, as I say, darker. Well, that's black and red, because I was thinking black and red, but I have a black and red, but I like that one. Yeah, so what I'm going to pull is, let me just put this aside here. Let's see where my black is. Oh, there's the black. I'm going to pull a black, because I want super high contrast for this block. Again, I don't know what it's going to turn out to be looking like. And I need a background. Where's my, oh, it's over here. Here's my background fabrics that I've been using, my tone on tone. And it's just a 9 patch with half square triangles, but it's an interesting pattern, and I'm showing you a different way to make half square triangles. So, oh, I've already done that one. So I want something, see, I have all of these, oh, that's nice. I have all of these stripes. I have all of these florals, but I've used them a lot. Actually, I might use the black. I might use this instead of this as the background. Instead of the white. And actually, I like that. These fabrics, black, mint, and then this is white, black, and mint. So 2 of the blocks will be like that, and the rest will be like that. And then I needed a center block that incorporates those colors, or perhaps not. Perhaps how about this one? So I have all my colors in the block. So I can fussy cut my center block out of here, and then my other ones. Or no, maybe I'll just do that in the center and have it a high contrast but a quieter block. I think I quite like this. You've seen the block. I haven't. You've seen the block, how it turns out. I'm not going to do a practice block, as I said. I'm going to use these. I'm not going to use this one this week. I'm going to use these 3 fabrics for my block. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to my ironing board. I'm going to iron all of the creases out real nice, and I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to cut these and how we're going to stitch these half square triangles together. I've gone over and I've ironed the what's remaining of my fat quarters. I've been using these up. This one I haven't used at all, so I'm pleased that I pulled that one, because I haven't used that one at all. So that'll be new in my sampler quilt block. I've used the green, and as you can see, I have used this black. What I need for my the contrasting and the one block, there's more black in this block, I think, as you've seen. What I'm going to do is I've lined these up. I've pressed them really well, and as you know, I don't use my mat as my cutting, my inches. I use my rulers, but I do always like to line up my fabric. I've straightened it up on the edges, and I'm using my trusty OmniGrid ruler here. And then this week I am showing you how I'm cutting. The last few weeks I wasn't showing how I'm cutting, but I'm showing you just to refresh again how I cut. What we're going to be needing are 3 7-inch squares. Oh, pardon me, please. We're going to be needing 4 7-inch squares. We're going to be needing 2 of the dark black, and then 1 each of my green and my lighter color. So here's my OmniGrid ruler. Here's my 7 inches, and on this corner here, which I've straightened up, I find my 7-inch square there, my 7-inch rule, and my 7-inch line there. I line it up really nice there and there. I'm cutting through 2 pieces of fabric, and my rotary cutter's really crap. Oh, excuse me, I shouldn't have said that. Oh my word, it really is. So there's my 7-inch squares of those 2. Now I'm going to be needing 2 of, I've really cut into this, of my black. So how should I do this? Let me just see. That's a selvage edge there, but that's a selvage edge. Let me see. So here's my selvage. I don't want to include that. Do I have enough room? Look at that. I just have enough room without cutting that selvage. So what I'm going to do is, again, you guys have perfected cutting. You know now how to cut. This is just me today showing you. I cut that edge off, and then I'll come around here. Let me just see how I'm going to do this. Lining it up. Here's my 7-inch. My 7 inches. I'm getting all really messed up. Okay, there's my 7 inches to there. Oh no, hold on. I'll do it this way. Somebody said, "Oh, I like the fact that you like don't you know, you show." Oh, here we go. Here we go. Like you show your mess ups. I'm like, yeah, I do. Okay, here we go. So here's my 7-inch. My 7-inch. I'm not including that selvage. I don't want that. Now I'm going to have to come back and I'm going to cut that. So I'm just going to go slightly above that, so I can cut that. So now I just have to cut this little edge off here. My 7 inches and my 7 inches. I should have just done this. There we go, and just cut that off. So I make a big song and dance about how to cut 7-inch squares. So you need 4 7-inch squares. Okay, you got that? 4 of the darkest ones, the light. And then what we're going to be needing is we're going to be needing for our middle part of this block, of this 9 patch, we're going to be needing a 4.5-inch square. So, because we're going to end up with half square triangles that are 4.5 inches. So here's my, let me just see, yeah, there's my 4.5 inch there. And always measure twice, cut once. There's my 4.5 inch middle square of my 9 patch. So that's what we're going to be needing. We're going to be needing 4 7-inch squares and 1 4.5-inch square. I hope I didn't mess you up there too bad. I should have just said, here we go, folks. We need 4 7-inch squares. My cutting leaves much to be desired. Okay, now I'm going to show you how we're going to actually sew these. Now, I have shown you folks forever, for the last 12 weeks or so, how we do half square triangles, right? What do? We cut our blocks, we line them, we either fold them and iron them, or you make your nice little pencil line and you put right sides together and stitch on 1/4 inch on either side of the line, right? Well, this week I'm showing you, and then I've explained, again, there's a million ways to make half square triangles. Well, this week we're going to be doing the million ways. This week we're going to be showing you how we're doing half square triangles. Now what I'm doing, and what we're doing, is we're going to end up with 4 half square triangles in one go, one shot. You're going to go, what? I'm like, yep, we're going to end up with 4 half square triangles. Where is my other one? 8. Yes. Okay, so now what we want to do is, for this block here with my dark, I'm going to take my 2 blacks. I'm going to be putting my 2 lighter, my contrasting ones, as again, you've seen the block, so you can see the configuration of my one light, my lighter, my green next to my black, right sides together. And what you do is you're going to stitch very simply 1/4 inch all the way around this block. Okay, right around the edge. And you can start at the very end and go off. So I'm stitching 1/4 inch, having lined them up. Now, if you want, you can go off of your block, raise your presser foot, and then come back and find your 1/4 inch. Just pull your, if you want, and then go 1/4 inch, lining the edges up nicely. Just go right around the edge of your block. Where you could find, there you go. I didn't go off the edge, but I found that 1/4 inch. If you want, you can go right off the edge. If you have to, just a stitch or so. And right to the other end. And off. I'm going to do that with both of my lighter ones to my black. right sides, pretty sides together. Quarter inch right around. I can pretty much gauge where my quarter of an inch is, but by all means, if you need to measure, please do. Because this has to be pretty accurate. A quarter of an inch right in that corner. And you'll see why. And right off. So we've sewn our four 7-inch squares together. Now I'll take you back over to the cutting mat and I'll show you what happens. Again, super, super easy block, just half square triangles and a center. But this week I'm showing you another way how to make half square triangles quicker and easier and on at quantity. We're making 4 at a time as opposed to cutting and just making 2 at a time. So what we have here is our dark and our light fabrics put together. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line that. It doesn't really matter. What we're doing is we're just cutting on the diagonal from this corner to this corner, that corner stitching to that corner stitching. That's important. That corner stitching to that corner stitching. Let me just grab my ruler. Oh, actually, this is, I'm going to use this actually. This is my Fiskars ruler that has a built-in rotary cutter in here. So I'm just going to use this as opposed to my, I don't know where's my other ruler? I don't know where that other ruler is. I had been using this. So this is a rotary cutter built into my ruler. So what I'm going to do is I'm lining, let me just see, is that in the frame? Yeah. I'm going to be lining this edge up, this ruler, I know that the blade is right on that edge of where this metal is, how it's constructed. So I'm lining up my ruler, or you could do this with your rotary cutter and the edge of your ruler, from that line of stitching there to that line of stitching there, right in the corner. Holding it down. Now, and this blade is so much sharper than that stupid thing. So now I'm going to come around, and we're not going to shift, and I'm going to line up my corner there to my corner there. On one of my videos ages ago, I construct a pinwheel block like this because you can get really nice half square triangles without the folding and the ironing or the marking. So I've done that with my 7-inch block, and what do we end up with? We end up with 4 half square triangles with the dog ears, I know. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to press these, and then I'm going to show you we need to end up with 8. Let me do these. Let me put that over there, and I'll do this one. We need to end up with 8 half square triangles that are exactly 4.5 inches. I'm lining that up and that up. So we're going to have to just trim these slightly. Remember I was telling you last week how we or the week before, how we square up our blocks. So I'm going to go over, we're going to square these blocks up to exactly 4.5 inches, and I'll show you how we do that if you've just tuned in. So I've made a beautiful half square triangle. We have 8 of these, and then we have our center block, our 9 patch. But so this block will take you 10 minutes, literally. This is a super, super easy. But this is a way that you can make lots of blocks, lots of half square triangles at one time. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to press these, and I'm just going to show you then how I trim them up. I'm at my ironing board. I just wanted to show you. I know we've done this like 10 million times, but I just wanted to show you, again, if you're just tuning in, the importance of, oh, where did it go? Oh, jeez. Oh, it got all messed up. Oh, there you go. Oh, my iron. Look at that. What the heck? Yeah. My iron is wonderful. So, yeah, there it goes. It pops up. Sometimes, actually, somebody said, I didn't see your iron pop up. Like, that was the end of the world. But, like, it's popping up. It's, yeah, look. Like, did it pop up? Yeah, it popped up. So anyway, this is my lovely iron. Very, very important to set your seams. And then what do we do when we have our half square triangles? We gently roll over to the dark. Okay? So I'm just gonna, every lesson, every tutorial, I say I cannot reiterate how very important it is without stretching without, you know, pulling and tugging when you're making half square triangles, how important it is to, or when you're making anything in quilting, to press. Some people have the mentality like, oh, I'll press everything real well after I make my whole project. Well, your project's not going to come out as nice. It truly isn't. You should regard ironing and pressing as important as your piecing. And it's I have to get up. I physically get up to do my ironing, and it's not a bad thing to, you know, keep your you know, your blood flowing, to get up now, you know, in your sewing room, because with quilting you might have a tendency to sit for half an hour, and you know, get the quilters spread in your behind. I know I have. But so it's not a bad thing to get up, pop up and down. I'm really rattling on today, aren't I? After my sickness, I just sort of laid around and didn't have a lot to say. So here I am, nattering on. So anyway, this is the simplest block. I guess I'm filling in. I'm filling in. Filling in space. Somebody said, "Oh, my tutorials are scatterbrained," and I'm like, "Yeah, they are. Absolutely, they're scatterbrained." But I always say, I get there in the end. And there's my, is it going to pop up? Yeah, it popped up. Yeah, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I'm so, oh, there it goes, yeah. I'm so like, oh, who cares? Anyway, so there's my beautifully pressed 8 half square triangles. Now I'm going to go over and I'm going to square them up. So here are my lovely 8 half square triangles for this block, and I'm going to be squaring them up. So what I do, again, I just line them up on my board here, and with my trusty thing, I'm going to find my 4.5 inches. Now, as you can see, this block constructed this way, almost with a 7-inch square, almost makes a perfect 4.5 inch, but not quite. So again, remember, you're going to have a quilting ruler that has this diagonal line on it. And as you can see there on the white, we just want to line that right up on that seam beautifully. It lines up beautifully. So I find my 4.5 inch over here and my 4.5 inch down here. Line everything up beautifully with my diagonal line, so I know my block is nice and square. And then it's just a little bit, just there and just there. That little bit of, I really do have to get another rotary cutter. I'm sorry about this. This is obnoxious. And then that, I know that's square, and then I'm just going to cut my dog ear off. So that's a perfect 4.5 inch square. So again, here's my diagonal. I line that up real nice onto my seam there. I find my 4.5 inches, my 4.5 inches, and we're just cutting off, what is it, about 1/8 of an inch. But so I suppose you could have cut, you know, a more precise square, but I'm not bothered that. Like I can trim it down and just waste that sort of 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to finish squaring up my blocks, taking off my dog ears, and then we can put our lovely block together. I end up with my 8 squares, my 8 half square triangles, and my 9 my 9th center square of our block. So now I'm going to start putting our block together, and this is the way it is done. You have to be careful. Again, what we do is we're going to lay out our lovely block. That goes in the middle. Let me just see. Be careful here with our configuration. I like the contrast. Yeah, I like this contrast a lot. Let me just see. It's sort of a twirling star, so you have to be careful. Again, I'll take a picture of this and make sure that you get it. There we go. And there is our simple, lovely, let's see if that's in it. Yeah, that's our simple, lovely 9-patch. Sort of a twirl. Let me see, looking back, let me just see. Yeah, there's our little finished block, our little twirling star. And you can see the contrast. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I love my mint green and my black, and then the lighter thing. I suppose I could have done a another fabric in there. But I'm okay with it. I'm all right with that. Just the 3 colors. It's a heavier looking block because of the strike. It's a striking block. But I quite like this. Now this is so simple. I'm not even going to I'm not going to insult your intelligence by showing you how you have to put your block together. As you know, you've done this. Oh, that little dog ear. You've done this a million times, literally. This is a 9-patch block. It's real pretty though. So what are you going to do is you're going to come over your right to your center, your left to your center, row by row. You're going to construct row by row by row. And then you're going to do your top, your middle, your bottom, and then you're going to come back and you're going to sew these together and that together. And hopefully, I don't know, hopefully I will have a 12.5-inch unfinished block here. So I'm going to take this over, again, I'm going to take this over next to my machine, and I'm going to sew my block and my rows together. And hopefully it'll work out. But again, you have to be careful with the configuration that you want to keep it like that. So you want to have it right next to your sewing machine. So here's my block. I've sewn my three rows together. I've sewn my 3 blocks together here for each row. Now the only, you're going to be nesting, remember, you're going to be nesting these seams here. I have taken this over to my ironing board and I've pressed these 2 seams here outwards. I've pressed my 9-patch seams inwards. These 2 seams come in and these 2 go out. So when we go to sew them, as we've done, we can just nest them beautifully together. If you've sewn these absolutely correctly, you should have on these corners here, you should have up here and here, you should have here and there the 1/4 of an inch to allow for your seam allowance. So when you go to nest this row together, this 1/4 of an inch in that nested seam and this 1/4 of an inch in that nested seam should just be perfect, and that point should be really nice. If it's not, if you've made it a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, don't worry about it. The point slightly will be cut off. It's no big deal. But if you can, remember, if you can, this is where your 1/4 of an inch seam, as I was saying, always comes in, you know, real important. You'll have here, you'll have this 1/4 of an inch, and then that takes up. What we're going to do is I'm going to take this top row over to my center row, and I'm going to nest these seams together, and that is the point, that 1/4 of an inch. We don't want to catch that point. We just want to sew right on the top of it, so that when we pull our blocks out, and that 1/4 of an inch there, we have a nice point, and these seams nest together because we've ironed them and pressed them the proper way. So I'm going to go over to my machine and I'm going to sew my block together. So ta-da! There is my finished block. Oh, it's pretty, so pretty. I'm about to thread off there, but all my other, which I'm not bothered about, all my other points are really nice. I have my 1/4 inch, so when I go to sew it to my other blocks, I'm pretty good. Here, here, here. I'm real pleased with that. So it's like a twirling star. I like it, and let's see. It is just a slight hair. Just a slight, which I will actually just slightly trim that. Let me just see, just to take a little tiny bit off that end. And there you go, exactly 12.5 inches. Exactly 12.5 inch square. Yeah, I love it. I love the contrast. It's sort of heavy. So I have like block number 11 was very light with a lighter background, and it was a lot more delicate of a pattern. This is a little bit bolder, and I like it a lot. I like it a lot. You can't, I don't know if you can really see that green, but in person, it's just so pretty, so delightful. So there is our block that, and again, super, super simple. This will take you 10 minutes to make. I'm waffling on, but I just wanted to show you another way to make half square triangles. Two sides together, right sides together, and then you cut them into quarters, and you get 4 at one time. No messing about with folding or marking. Just another way you do it. There's a way you can make 8 half square triangles, but this is a delightful block, simple block, but I just wanted to show you that other way. So yeah, I hope you love this block. I'm just going to keep this on so you can see the configuration of this block when you go to put it together, because otherwise you'll get confused. So yeah, it's sort of like a sort of like almost a boomerang twirling thing. I love it. So okay, folks, thank you for following along. Block 13, unbelievable. Block 13. So have at it. Okay, see you later, folks. Bye.